here for, I guess. He's got the clap and he's giving it to you.
Perfect.
Never a dull moment.
Because if there is, then, why are we here?
Right?
Why, oh, why?
Why?
Sometimes why.
I do not like them, Sam. I do not like your green eggs and spam.
Mr. Cox and Socks, sir.
Mr. Cox and Socks, sir. He's a Cox and Blocks, sir.
Oh, if I had more time.
I know. I really think you ought to edit in some kind of screenshot of something Seuss with Cox's face on it.
Say,
like one of those.
I like
random,
this conservatism.
Like one of those random animal things, or the Lorax or something with Cox's face on it.
I'm going to apply a conservatism here, there, anywhere. I can apply it
I
to
like
the
this
Senate.
right wing. I sure do.
I could apply it to the Senate. I could apply it to the House. I could apply it to this bill. I could apply it to my speech. Something like that.
It's got to rhyme.
It's a work in progress. It's a work in progress, okay?
It's a terrible work in progress.
Mm-hmm. I'm not the one that read Dr. Seuss their entire childhood, so
that's fair. That's fair. I'm already force feeding it to my child. I read Dr. Seuss all the time to her.
Oh yes, my kids.
Do you have to hop on pop?
Hop.
Ball, wall, all falls. Yeah, It's a big thing. You got to know these words.
One bear, one wheel.
That's right.
Two bears, two wheels.
I would not, could not. In the rain, I would not, could not on a train.
I'll apply it to public transportation. Well, shall we?
Yes, let's.
Gosh dang it, I'm never ready.
Stop it. Welcome to the Naked Apple.
The Naked Apple.
Here we are once again.
For a second time. Marty, we have to go back. Yes. 2 episodes this week. Unless I feel like something's going to happen, then, this is just a regular episode on a regular week. And you never know.
Who knows?
But now you know, because, we're terrible.
Why you got to go spilling all the beans all the time, man?
That's because, honestly, there's no more beans left to spill. That's why.
Are they the magic beans that the Republicans got for...
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yep.
Just checking.
A magic wishing apple? Yes. Yeah, this is a special one though, because it's all themed.
Very near and dear.
Mm-hmm. Very near and dear. Because it has to be. Because we're here.
Unfortunately.
Dearly and nearly. Speaking of near and dear, Redemption Tactical, they are near and dear.
They are.
Mm-hmm. You can find them here. You can find them there. You can find them anywhere. Online.
The Dr. Seuss kick tonight. It's just great.
Well, it doesn't help that we started before we even started doing all this.
You're right.
Yes.
That's my fault.
Yes. And our dear Governor
Coxie.
Rhymes so well with socks.
Box and fox and socks. Talks.
It's very popular. Anyway, Redemption Tactical. A Utah original company. They're here in Utah. Mm-hmm. Have we met them? No. Do they know who we are? No.
But they will.
But they will.
When you go and purchase something from them,
with
you leave a 5-star review and say hi.
Say hi. Like the long march through the reviews.
Yes. Hi.
Hi.
Just the gif of Stitch. Hi.
Or Joker.
Or Joker.
You know,
that works too.
Whatever suits your fancy.
Either way, it's fine.
We're not picky, just as long as you say hi.
Yep. In any way that you want to. But that's the only thing you can say is hi.
Yes.
Because this is the way.
Correct. With that fabulous thing out of the way.
Gets better every time.
It gets so much better. Just wait till we have to do live reads.
I'm
get
excited
to do. Wait till we get to do live
reads.
reads.
I just want to get a message someday from Redemption Tactical. That's just like all it says is what the hell.
Who are you?
Who are you?
Hi.
Who do you think you are? Yeah, it'll just say hi.
It will respond. Hi.
Hi. Oh gosh.
Anyway, you guys want to do live reads for us? Do you want us to do live reads?
That's the real question.
Let me answer you that by asking you this. Yeah.
Good stuff.
Were you able to did you find vitamins?
No.
To Joel? Okay.
I didn't find any extra vitamins.
You'll just have to laugh at yourself for a little bit.
I put them all in the last one.
Okay.
I mean, I guess you could see if there's a new article up. We could read that one.
I'm guessing no. It's later in the evening.
Yeah, no. We could read the 10 signs that your date is a transgender. That could be fun.
Could it?
Could. Could being the operative word. Could also be very bad.
Well, let's just get into this then.
All right.
We'll save that for another time.
We'll save that for later.
We'll save that for a slow news week.
We'll circle back.
Circle back. Ain't gonna circle back, y'all. Oh, Jen Psaki.
Yeah, I miss her.
Do you?
I really kind of do.
I know.
I really do.
Perhaps I judged you too harshly.
We're gonna circle back to that, and we'll circle back.
No, this episode is themed about our home state.
Yay!
So if you live in a state that is our home, which is Utah, congratulations. Here's an update on the goings-on of things around the state. And if you don't live in Utah, you can either ignore this, which...
You are officially handicapped.
Thank you. Or you can do like we mentioned with the last episode with South Dakota's bill. See if any of this tickles your fancy, you can tell your local leaders, local state politicians to apply what you see.
Yo.
Because that's the great experiment of the United States. It's supposed to be, anyway. But anyways, to sum up what we have here for the state of Utah, it would sound like a little soundbite that goes a little something like...
Well, this is not a mundane detail, Michael!
That. Do you remember Orrin Hatch?
I do actually remember Orrin Hatch, yes.
Great guy.
That is a blast from the past. I don't know if I would use the word great, but yeah.
I don't know if I would use the word great. Oh, okay then. He was only like Mitch McConnell. It's fine.
Like I said.
What's wrong with Mitch McConnell? Everything.
You just gestured to all of him.
Let me count the ways. No, you don't need to worry about Orrin Hatch. He died a couple years ago.
I was about to say, oh, good, when you said you don't have to worry about him. I'm glad that I stopped myself. Yeah, no, I mean, he died a couple years. Oh, good.
I should have paused longer, is what you're saying.
Condolences. Condolences is the proper.
Mitt Romney's Senate seat is up for grabs because Mitt Romney
Good.
wisely decided to not run again. Probably the first best choice he's ever made.
Okay, so what does Orrin Hatch have to do with this? Because he can't run.
Correct. He might.
I guess he could run as a Democrat.
He might be voting. Yes, he might still be voting, but his son, Brent Hatch, has thrown his hat into the Senate race for Utah.
It's his son, Brent, not his daughter, Straw.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I was waiting to see if you would catch it.
No, I got it. I was just trying to not react. And, well, I am me, so I reacted.
Have the humor of a 3-year-old, so just bear with us.
Brent Orrin Hatch has some experience in Washington, D.C., with stints of working in the administrations of former Presidents Ronald Reagan and George H.W. Bush, but has spent most of his career as an attorney in private practice in Utah.
Oh. Mm-hmm. So he's already a blood-sucking parasite. Now he's just going to run for an office.
Yes.
Gotcha.
It's the same seat that his father had.
Oh, goody.
For 42 years.
Bleh.
Mm-hmm.
I thought you said this was good news.
Mostly.
Oh, okay.
As you can see, it's mostly peaceful news behind me.
Mostly peaceful news behind me. I shouldn't judge him based on his father.
No. That being said,
how close to his father are his politics?
Big old suitcase behind him. How closely he carries it is. Brent Hatch said he has an insider's knowledge of the highest levels of government, but is not a professional politician.
That
you're an attorney, which is basically the same thing. I left Washington at an early age. I have worked for over 33 years here in Utah as a lawyer, protecting the rights of individuals and companies. We need to elect people who have had real jobs, had to make payrolls, and are not wed to lobbyists and the political class. People who speak plainly and use common sense. He said he would focus on the federal budget, inflation, and securing the border. I wonder, he should have a page up, right?
Probably. I mean, if he's going against Trent Staggs, it's not even a competition for me. I'm voting for Staggs.
That's a odd page. Brent Orrin Hatch, U.S. Senate. Do you want a true conservative to represent Utah? No.
Yes.
What happens if I click on yes on your page? Volunteers, events, news.
It sends you to somebody else's page.
Steal the hyperlink.
Okay, so this is fun. If you go into the Google Chrome, you can actually change the coding on a page. So you could actually redirect that button to somebody else's page, and then you could make a video going through the page where you click it, and it redirects you to somebody else's page. And now I kind of want to do it.
Yeah. So he doesn't have like a policy thing that I can see. Oh, what I
that's
believe.
good.
Stop out of control inflation, stop government overreach, stop overrunning our border, stop the growing national debt. More of my beliefs. More of my beliefs.
Okay, that's all good and well to say, but how? How? Because lots of people say that that's what they believe, and then they do the opposite. So,
Our borders must be secured. Legal and rational immigration can be a positive for our country, but Biden administration has allowed more than 8 million foreigners to cross our borders. That is neither legal nor rational. 8 million is more than the population of 38 states. This is not sustainable, and it cannot continue. That's it. That's all it says.
that's a fair point. That is accurate.
Yeah. Then on his bio, his get to know me. Involved and supported the work of his father, Senator Orrin G. Hatch, who served in the U.S. Senate for 42 years. See, that's don't like that as much. Served for almost 40 years as director and treasurer of the Conservative Federalist Society for Law and Social Policy, located in Washington, D.C. I thought he was Utah person. Associate counsel to the President of the United States, Deputy Assistant Attorney General, United States Department of Justice under Reagan, General Counsel, National Endowment for the Humanities, law clerk to Judge Robert H. Bork, U.S. Court of Appeals in the D.C. Circuit, elected delegate to 2004 Republican National Convention. Graduated at BYU, law degree at Columbia. Listed as one of the Mountain State's super lawyers, top 100. Okay. Married, 4 children, 5 grandchildren. Blah, 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 blah. Yeah. And he's got his resignation letters. Oh. Yeah, no, I don't know. I'm not... Something about having your resignation letter from the President of the United States and your end of term letter from Ronald Reagan proudly displayed as an achievement. I don't. You're full of yourself. That's how that reads to me.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Oh, I'm pulling for Stags.
Yeah. At least
He's done such a great job with Riverton.
Mm-hmm.
I think he would be great.
he's had his
representing
hiccups,
us.
I'm sure.
Yeah,
But overall, I think it's a
but
net
overall,
positive.
yes.
And he actually has solutions on the issues that he points
Yeah.
out.
So that's where I'm leaning. I hope it's him.
Well, Brent Hatch just announced his thing, so his page probably doesn't. If you're going to announce, you put everything out. You just lay it all out. If something changes, then it changes. That's how it works. Especially when you're getting in on near the deadline of applying. On to the mostly good news. The good news part of the mostly good news. The transgender bathroom and DEI bills we've mentioned before.
Oh yay!
Governor Cox has signed them into law.
Good news, everyone.
Yes, it is now against the law in Utah at state-funded buildings to use a bathroom that does not go with your actual gender. Also, it is against the law to discriminate against people based off of not merit.
Good.
Yeah. Governor Cox was on the Texas border.
Oh,
Went and visited the border.
oh goody.
And he said, after doing a tour of part of the border, he said the federal government has once again just completely abdicated their responsibility. President Biden can't fix all of this, but he can fix most of this with the authority that he has right now. He knows this, and his administration knows this, and they're willfully choosing not to do the things that could stop this from happening, this humanitarian catastrophe that is taking place on the border with people that are losing their lives. He says Congress does need to act. Congress also abdicated their responsibility for the past 40 years to help some of the things that are broken with immigration. We would encourage Congress to do their part. That's what he had to say.
Attaboy.
Mm-hmm. Cox rocks. Yes. I do enjoy that he called out Congress for the last 40 years, not just current Congress.
That is nice.
See, Orrin Hatch was a senator. Oh, during that time frame. Okay. Just checking.
You know, I would say that even a blind squirrel finds a nut every once in a while, but Cox has actually been doing pretty well the last little bit.
Yeah, he's been doing so well. I went to the socials, the social medias, because he basically put this article or something like it on his timeline saying, you know, we need to shut down the border or whatever. And the comment section was filled with people that were upset that they no longer had a Democrat as a governor of Utah. What happened to you? You changed. Yes, he did. And it was the same kind of reaction with the signing the transgender and DEI things, especially the transgender one, because he started to go down that route with going to the whatever seminar thing and saying my pronouns are he, him, blah, blah, blah. And then he reversed course shortly after that, saying that I didn't realize that there was actually zero science behind this entire movement. At least healthy science behind the movement. Yeah. So he put a hard stop on that and turned right back around.
And the thing that kills me about the whole transgender thing, and like seriously, nothing against him, against the people. Nothing against the people. But there are zero other mental instabilities that we just accept and try to integrate into society.
Mm-hmm.
So why this one?
Well, people with Down syndrome and stuff, no. We recognize that they are different.
Yes.
We treat them
and we try
difference.
to help them for their difference.
And we try to help them be part of society without capitulating every part of society to their needs.
Yes. So why don't we do that here? And that's what this bill does.
Mm-hmm.
Is you can't discriminate against them based on anything but merit. That being said, you can't use a bathroom that does not match your birth. It's that easy.
Well, I don't feel safe. Neither do half the women in that bathroom.
Yeah.
When they see burly man come walking in, I shave. When they see burly man come walking in, they don't feel safe.
I'm not going to lie. When I see a chick with a mustache in the dude's room, I don't feel comfortable either.
It's going to be a no from me, dog.
It's going to be a no from me, dog. And yeah, hate on me if you want for that opinion, but seriously, like, it makes no sense to capitulate to this.
It's no different
at all.
It's no different than Mrs. Doubtfire. It is.
It is a lot different than Mrs. Doubtfire. Mrs. Doubtfire was a comedy.
Mm-hmm. And we laughed because of how ridiculous it was, and it would never
Exactly.
happen.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah. Your comparison is moot. Move on.
Yeah.
Immigrants in Utah
Woohoo.
from Venezuela, Cuba, and other countries have called on the Senate to condemn communism. So, senators from Utah have taken to officially condemning communism for the state. It's not a bill with any teeth or anything like that. It's just something to have Utah officially stand against communism. So.
Good news, everyone.
One of the people pushing for this, Gabriella Puckett, from Cuba, now living in Orem. She said some people remark enthusiastically about the beaches and sun when she tells them she's from the Caribbean island nation. Her memories, though, are of scarce food, government control, and limited professional opportunities. She ultimately fled the communist nation and is now part of a contingent of immigrants in Utah, most from Latin America, pushing a message bill in the Utah legislature calling for the condemnation of socialism and communism. She said it's like a cancer that's spreading all over the country. We need to teach children and young people about communism, the reality, the truth. The aim of SJR 5, she and others behind the measure say, is to shed light on what they believe to be a slow creep towards socialism in the United States and to stop it. Senator Michael Kennedy, a Republican from Alpine, is the sponsor, and the resolution received a favorable recommendation in a 3-1 vote of the Senate Judiciary, Law Enforcement, and Criminal Justice Committee last week. Carlos Moreno, originally from Venezuela and now living in West Jordan, reached out to Kennedy to get the bill on the lawmakers' radar screen. In Venezuela, under the late socialist president Hugo Chavez, Moreno said guns were taken from private residents and school curriculum was changed to reflect socialist values.
So are we going to remove all of the Hugo Chavez street names that we have?
That'd be a good start.
I think it'd be an awesome start.
Cuban revolutionaries like Ernesto Che Guevara and Fidel Castro were put forward to kids as heroic examples to emulate. Let's see, when I was working at middle schools, I remember seeing a lot of shirts with
Che!
Yeah.
Everybody has a Che shirt.
President Nicolas Maduro now leads Venezuela following the footsteps of Chavez. When you escape from that type of regime, you don't want to see it in your new home, said Moreno, a naturalized U.S. citizen running as a Republican for the District 2 seat on the Salt Lake County Council. Good luck.
Hope he wins.
Mm-hmm. Otherwise, everyone that...
Don't know that he will because it's Salt Lake, but...
Well, there are a bunch of racists in Salt Lake if they don't vote for him.
That's fair.
My, how the turns table.
My, how the turns table. Yes. Turntables.
The other hopefuls for the seat, now held by Republican Dave Alvord, who's not running again, are Republican Daniel Thatcher and Democrat Katie Olson. After coming to Utah as a student in 2009, Moreno said he created a student group challenging changes implemented by Venezuela that impacted the finances of students abroad, incurring the wrath of the government. Overnight, I became an enemy of the state, and I had to apply for political asylum. Oh, how about that? Actual political asylum seeker. And he became a naturalized citizen. So he went through the process legally. Moreno, like Puckett, testified on behalf of SJR 5 at last week's committee hearing. Now, SJR 5 doesn't call for any specific action. It has no teeth. It reads as a statement of resolve by the Utah legislature that the body, quote, celebrates the enduring principles of the United States Constitution, reaffirms our commitment to the free market system, and condemns the destructive and oppressive nature of socialism and communism, end quote. But it reflects the concerns of some immigrant newcomers about what's happening around the world and their contentions that socialism is gaining a foothold in the state. Among other things, Moreno pointed to the creation of a Salt Lake branch of the Party for Socialism and Liberation, which espouses, quote, the socialist transformation of society, end quote, and on a larger scale moves towards socialism in Latin America. He said socialism doesn't come overnight. It's a process like what happened in Venezuela. He now runs an energy consulting firm. Good for you, Mr. Moreno. Let's see. Where's... Utah Senator Luz Escamilla, Democrat out of Salt Lake City, voiced reservations about SJR 5 during the committee hearing, ultimately voting against recommending approval of the measure. She subsequently proposed a substitute version of SJR 5, expanding its condemnation beyond communism and socialism to, quote, all oppressive forms of government, end quote. No, specific.
Okay, so here's the problem with that is all oppressive forms of government is all forms of government because that's all that government does is oppress. That's literally its function in the world is to oppress.
The reason
There is no government in existence in history or in future that has ever been designed to do anything other than oppress its people.
The reason why Benjamin Franklin said a republic, if you can keep it, is because the republic that the founders designed was extremely liberating because there weren't all kinds of little bylaws and all this stuff. Because it was made for a moral and religious people, as Adams said. Why? Because a moral and religious people don't need a bunch of laws to tell them what they can and cannot do, because they believe that there's a higher government than the government that they need to answer to. So they just do the right thing anyway, because they believe that a power greater than government is watching over them. Therefore, they don't need government to tell them, you can't steal this, you can't murder that. But yes, all governments are oppressive. Her proposal also fine-tunes some of the criticism the measure aims to communism and socialism. Oh, does it? Does it? Now, to be clear, she doesn't support communism or socialism. She just, belongs to a party that is endorsed by the Communist Party.
She just needs to be removed from office is what she just...
But questioned the timing of the measure, drawing parallels to the recent legislative debate about HB 261 and overhauling diversity, equity, and inclusion programs at universities. That contentious measure, signed into law by Governor Cox on Tuesday, espouses academic freedom on college campuses and prohibits discrimination. I do have a lot of concerns just on the timing, and as we are evolving on some of these difficult conversations.
Stop. Not difficult. These are not difficult conversations at all.
No is the response.
It's a very simple conversation. The conversation is no. That's it. That's all there is.
I have rights. Yes, you do.
Yes, you do.
I get to go to that bathroom. No, you do not.
No, you do not.
But I identify, I see that you're wrong. You can think whatever you want.
You can think whatever you want. That does not require society to pander to your illusion.
Yep. You do not get to act however you want. It's a very simple conversation. Yeah. Like I said, I certainly agree in concept with some of these pieces, but it's when they connect to everything else that is happening that's hurting many members of our community that I do have a big hesitation. Let's see. So she disagrees with all of the people from outside the country that come to Utah and say, hold on, all this stuff we saw over there is starting to happen here. Can you guys stop that?
Can I vote that we just not?
How about no? She said, we don't want people to lose hope like in Cuba. They don't even dream. The only dream in Cuba is to leave Cuba because you're not living.
That was Puckett that said that.
Uh-huh.
Not the senator lady.
Yes,
This was
yeah, Puckett.
Puckett, yeah.
Yeah. Meanwhile, the senator's like, yes, but let's not be too hard on it because it could offend someone. Which is why we need to be hard on it.
Yes.
Because it's offensive. If it's offensive, it means you have to be hard to get rid of the offense. Otherwise, the offense stays. And then your airplanes start falling out of the air because you care more about how diverse the crew is as opposed to how well constructed the airplane is. Did you see So Boeing, side note, Boeing tried to get a exemption from a safety thing from the FAA. They decided to retract their exemption application after it was discovered that bolts were missing from the door that flew off the airplane while it was in flight.
I thought that was a new air conditioning feature.
But their crew is very diverse, though. Sorry.
That's hilarious.
Governor Cox, again, still rocks.
Woohoo!
Signed a constitutional sovereignty bill into law.
Constitutional sovereignty. What exactly does that entail?
The short and skinny of it is Utah can decide whether or not we actually follow federal regulations.
A blessing from the Lord. God be praised.
Yeah. Quote unquote, legally decide. And it's not just higgledy-piggledy, we pick what we want. It's the issue is brought to the legislature, and the legislature votes yes or no, we're going to follow that regulation, whatever thing from the federal government. It's not saying, so if a law is passed by the federal government, that's one thing. But if the FAA comes in and says, this is a new regulation you have to follow,
Or the ATF.
Or pick an alphabet soup agency, the state of Utah can gather together its legislature and say, yeah, no. Governor Cox said, balancing power between state and federal sovereignty is an essential part of our constitutional system. Correct. This legislation gives us another way to push back on federal overreach and maintain that balance. This bill is designed, that's what he said. This bill is designed to allow the state to refuse to comply with some federal orders or directives, like federal air quality standards or public lands issues. But that's only after a supermajority of the legislature agrees to pass a resolution stating as such. Yeah, so if a president of the United States comes in and says, under the national parks thing, this swath of land that you were going to drill oil on is now a national park. The
no, it's not.
state of Utah come in and say, the hell it is. And let the Texas standoff begin.
Yes. Which I'm fine with. Because the federal government can go pound sand.
Slash it.
Slash it. Slash it. Yep.
The bill's primary sponsor, Senator Scott Sandel, out of Tremont.
It's a good place to be from.
Sure. He said it would not allow every minor grievance the state may have with an ideologically opposed administration be brought up. Instead, lawmakers must run a resolution to pick their topics. So we need to begin the process somewhere of taking back sovereignty of the state for the benefit of the citizens for the state. Correct. But the Alliance for a Better Utah left-leaning policy group blasted the bill. We maintain that SB 57 sets up an unconstitutional process to evade federal laws and regulations. It's not
incorrect.
It's not set up to evade federal law, just federal regulations.
Yeah.
Which are not
And
law.
in order for it to be unconstitutional, the Constitution would actually have to grant these powers to all of these little piddly things, which it does not. So,
seeing as how Congress did not
and every
specify,
power that is not specified in the Constitution
it's given to the
is
states.
given to the states, which means this is perfectly constitutional.
Uh-huh.
So this is the opposite of an unconstitutional process. This is exactly the way it should be handled.
They say they anticipate this ill-advised action by the legislature will hit taxpayers in the end through unnecessary litigation.
I hope it goes to the Supreme Court. Mm-hmm. Every one of them. Because the Supreme Court should, if the Supreme Court is doing its job, look at any of these things brought to them by a state and say, that was never made a law through the legislation, so The state is correct.
Yes. Well, it says here, secretary's discretion.
Doesn't matter.
No, that's not how that works. Which is, again, back to, was it 2 or 3 weeks ago, we were looking at the Chevron case being overturned?
Yeah.
Which is basically the same argument. Just
Yes.
this is a state instead of a company.
Yes.
Which I would feel like the state has more legal favorings than a private company does. Seeing as how a state is specifically mentioned in the Constitution to have the right to do this.
Yes.
They said, as lawmakers undoubtedly make use of the bill's provisions in this and future legislative sessions, we'll be watching to make sure that Utahns' best interests are heard and protected. Yes, because Utahns want every square inch of their land that isn't their house to become a national park. That's exactly what Utahns want. Hey, you can't do that there because it's a national park. But it's my property. Yes, it's your property inside of what is now a national park. When did it become a national park? Well, when the president came to the state and made a speech and stuff, he said this is a national park, so now it's a national park. So now you can't cut down that tree that's hanging over your house. Uh-huh. That's in my best interests, I guess. A bill that is being advanced through Utah's legislature, speaking of national parks and nature and stuff, would prevent the granting of personhood to nature.
A blessing from the Lord. God be praised.
I already used that one.
But it's still great. There's too many. When I mentioned this to my wife, she was very confused. What does that even mean? It means like in California, a tree has just as much or more rights than a human does because nature. Utah is trying to just stop that from happening at all.
Good.
House Bill 249, the Utah Legal Personhood Amendments, declares that only mankind may enjoy the legal rights and obligations of personhood. Utah House passed the bill on Tuesday and now faces consideration by the Senate. It expressly prohibits the granting of legal personhood to any artificial intelligence, inanimate object, body of water, land, real property, atmospheric gas, astronomical object, weather, plant, non-human animal, and, quote, any other member of a taxonomic domain that is not a human being, end quote. So this is going after AI, too. To shut down. Well, that robot has its own thoughts. And it's a robot. It's not a human. Let's see. State Rep Walt Brooks brought this bill forward. And it was brought to his attention by a constituent. So he made it into law, into a bill. He said, I had to explain to my kids that you go to a dairy, those cows are pregnant because they need to be if they're going to give milk. But did anybody get the permission of a cow to get them pregnant, said Brooks. So if they were a person, that would be sexual harassment. So that's why this bill is in place, so that crazy stuff like that can't actually be prosecuted. Because then you wouldn't have farms.
Yeah. And then we wouldn't have food.
Uh-huh. Democrat State Rep Joel Briscoe indicated that non-human entities and beings should enjoy the legal rights of personhood since corporations may have legal rights under the U.S. law. It's different things. Briscoe said he wasn't sure whether granting personhood to the Great Salt Lake would be a good idea or not. It'd be a bad idea.
I really don't think that corporations should enjoy personhood either.
No. No, but corporations do have some sort of legal rights under law because...
As a business, not
as a business, but not as a person. They don't have the right of humans.
Yeah.
They have the right of making money.
I mean, I've seen some of the shit that goes on in California, and there should be some sexual harassment suits against some people there.
Just saying.
Defaming corporate buildings, but
I'm just making statements.
I'm just making statements. I just asked the questions.
What I do know is this: before I put into code and vote to put into code prohibition against something that I'm told is dangerous without any examples, I would really love to see some details, said Briscoe.
I see a couple of really great examples in what Brooks said right there.
But
what more examples do you need?
He's probably saying he wants like things that are actually happening in real life. Have you not seen the kind of movement of everything around you? This is to just have it not happen at all in the state. Just pump the brakes before we even hit go.
An ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure.
So I'm told.
Your grandmother probably knew that was a saying.
In closing, Brooks impressed on the importance of definitions that reflect reality. Okay. He compared the hesitation to decline personhood for nature to the ongoing confusion over defining gender. There's no confusion. It's just you refuse to accept the truth. What I do know is this: a person is a person, and a tree is not. Neither is an animal, neither is a stream, neither is the air, said Brooks. I bet you if you went back 10 years ago, no one had a question about what a woman was and what a man was, but we do get confused. Yeah, we do.
Yeah.
Passed out of Utah House, overwhelming support with 58 members voting for it and 11 against. Is that a supermajority?
Pretty close.
It's more than 2/3, right?
I believe so.
Excellent. I'm just wondering about constitutional sovereignty bill. So, another bill floating around Utah, last one, would allow armed trained school guardians to respond to emergencies in Utah schools.
Good news, everyone.
It's basically just makes it easier for schools to have armed people. Now, in the state of Utah, it's already legal to have armed people inside the school because
It's legal to carry in the school.
legal to conceal carry in schools. Outside of that, this is to allow schools to officially designate someone basically as armed security.
All right, I've heard enough. Deadly force authorized.
Stop the threat. The legislation would establish a guardian program in the absence of a school resource officer or SRO or security guard. A school employee could volunteer to be an armed guard to respond during an emergency. Now, if I still worked for a school district and this became law, and it is such a way that you can volunteer to be an armed guard, if that means I can have my AR slung over my shoulder while I'm doing whatever I do at the school, yes.
If that means I can open carry 2 of my pieces and a stun gun and my AR, I'm all for it.
You're a custodian. Yes, and armed. And happy
I'm a
custodian.
custodian, which means I'm here to take out the trash.
I'm here to secure the premises.
Wow.
The guardians would train twice a year inside of the school. Oh, no. And the county sheriff would oversee their duties. Fine. Guardians would undergo mental health evaluations and de-escalation training. Fine. Their training would also include firearms proficiency. So you're going to pay for my ammo to be better at using my weapon. Yes. Oh, where do I sign?
I mean, I was gonna sign up before you bribed me.
To twist my arm.
This
I already said yes. Stop selling me.
Almost this makes me want to go get a job at a school district.
You want to work part-time at the school district? Yes, I also volunteer.
I also
Volunteer for what? Well, I don't see a resource officer here, so I volunteer.
I volunteer.
It's not law yet.
All right. Well, call me back when it is.
You, I'll be back.
I'll be back.
I'll be back. Guardians are basically force multipliers. An SRO cannot be everywhere at all times. Around the country, in some of our rural communities, law enforcement could be 10 or 20 minutes away. Correct. Mm-hmm. The most important thing...
Even in inner city, they can be almost that far away.
Even when the station's just a couple blocks away. Yeah. Guardians are basically force multipliers. An SRO cannot be everywhere at all times around the country. Oh, sorry. The most important thing when an active shooter comes on your campus and an individual is intent on killing your son or daughter, the most important thing is, number one, stopping the killing and then stopping the dying. Yeah. That's why I certainly support this bill and the Guardian feature that you have in there, he said. This is from Schachter. I think he was... Oh, I didn't see who Schachter was. Dang it. But this comes from, this is supported by some of the Parkland shooting.
Max Schachter is the parent of...
that's what it was.
Alex Schachter, who died...
Marjorie Stoneman High School, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so some of the parents from that are supporting this bill in Utah. But there's kids died in school shootings. You want guns in the schools? Yes, because these parents realize that if there was a gun at the school, their kid might not have died.
Yeah.
A good guy with a gun at the school.
Yeah.
Unlike, what's his face, that thinks that he's almighty and important because he's built an entire profile around capitalizing off his dead students, fellow students.
Oh, Hogg.
Yeah, David Hogg. Who's pushing for anti-gun stuff and is somehow making money off of taking advantage of that situation there. He was just happened to be at the school, wasn't necessarily involved around the shooting.
Gotta give him props for seizing the opportunity.
Oh, yeah.
I mean,
that's
in all the wrong ways, but
that's
gotta give him props.
That's as far as I go with it.
The opportunity.
Because there's...
I wish I could make tons of money for being an idiot. I'd be rolling in it.
Clark Aposhian, chairman of the Utah Shooting Sports Council, endorsed the legislation, thanking Will Cox for working for months with diverse stakeholders to craft a very comprehensive bill. We believe that this legislation is likely to be a template for other states to adopt to protect the students, the staff, and the faculty. Really, the only reason to pass this bill is if we're serious about protecting our kids. Yes. Will Cox said after intensive study of the response to school shootings across the country, the message that we want to send here is that it isn't okay here. We're not going to wait and act later. If somebody decides to attack one of our schools, they will be met with resistance. They won't know what that looks like. But we're not going to sit and wait for someone to do this here. The committee voted unanimously to send it to the House for further consideration.
Good.
There's no opposition to it out of committee. Oh, but there was some concern from Martin Carlos Muñez from the Child Advocacy Organization, Voices for Utah Children. He voiced concern about the Guardian program and urged the committee to refer the bill to interim study. A local elected school board member urged lawmakers to amend the legislation to, quote, eliminate the armed guardian section of the bill and add more funding for SROs, end quote. Let's spend more money and not have volunteers. So people are willing to, a teacher, a custodian, a principal, a secretary, whatever, is willing to volunteer to put their life on the line at the pay that they're getting with no extra pay. No, we can't have that. We need to have more money to pay for someone to do that.
Yeah.
That's Terry McCabe of the Provo School District Board of Education.
Wasn't he quoting somebody else in that one, though?
Hmm?
I think it said that he was quoting somebody else in that one.
No, that was what Terry McCabe, a member of the Provo School District Board of Education, said. They want to eliminate the armed guardian section of the bill and add more funding for SROs.
So, yeah, but before that, one locally elected school board member urged lawmakers to amend the legislation to, and then it's the quote, said Terry McCabe. So Terry McCabe said that there was a locally elected school board member. He was quoting somebody in that. He didn't say it himself. To be clear.
Sure. Someone says they're concerned about this. Who? Someone? Someone told me. Yeah. So that's your Utah stuff.
Yeah. Well,
What you just...
Nope.
not that one.
News,
That one.
everyone.
Not that one.
Gosh, I am just off on my aim tonight. It's like the third time. There. Now I feel better.
This comment down here. Training a guardian a couple of times a year would be next to useless. I would be more afraid that an innocent victim would be at risk from a guardian who had neither the training nor the mental preparedness to engage an active shooter in the middle of a school. Yeah, see, the thing is, someone that's going to volunteer to do that has already been training with a firearm.
Yeah, that's just training that the school provides. That doesn't mean that they're not going to train on their own or that they don't know their way around a gun.
What if I told you that police officers also get training a couple of times a year? They get more than
Not really.
Yeah.
So, cool. Well, I actually rather enjoyed that.
Yeah. Like, subscribe, share, follow, all those things.
Go check out Redemption Tactical.
Link below.
Tell them they said. Tell them
They
hi.
said hi.
Tell them they said hi. Tell them hi. Tell them hi from us.
Tell
from
'em
you.
hi.
Just hi. That's it. That's all you need to say. Just hi.
Just that.
You don't have to tell them who it's from. Just say hi.
Yes.
Add a little Deadpool gif doing a sensual little
Hi.
hi.
And with all that, Galatians 4:16.
Bye.